Let's start with how diagnosis is made. Diagnosing involves gathering information about you and your symptoms to understand which structures might be involved. For example, we'll ask questions like, how did your pain start? Was there a specific incident or did it develop gradually? Do not underestimate this part of the assessment. It's actually the most important and informative step. Next, we ask more detailed questions to rule out serious issues and narrow down potential causes. For instance, can you point to where it hurts? How would you describe the pain? Does it follow any pattern? By the end of this conversation, an experienced physiotherapist often has a solid idea of what might be going on. This is because certain conditions tend to follow recognizable patterns. The next step is physical assessment, where we observe your movements. This helps us understand any limitations or discomfort you might be experiencing. We usually start from simple movements and progress to more specific or functional ones as needed. But how do we decide which movement to test? Do we just assess everything? Well, not quite. We rely on the information gathered during our initial conversation to guide us. For example, if someone reports lower back pain that's aggravated when loading the dishwasher, we'd primarily focus on assessing lower back movements and particularly explore the flexion variations. We may also check resisted movements to identify any weaknesses in your body. In fact, during my master's placement, we used to do this exercise where we would step out of the treatment room right after the initial conversation with our patient, and I would present the suspected diagnosis to my supervisor and only then step back into the treatment room with a clear plan on what I would do during the physical assessment and why, which kind of helped me sharpen my skills in clinical reasoning and diagnosing. In the last step, we might use special tests designed to stress certain structures and confirm our suspicions. Unfortunately, these tests aren't very accurate as it is very difficult to make them structure specific, but they can support our diagnosis rather than diagnose the condition. Think of them as cherry on top rather than the main ingredient. So how can we diagnose remotely? Remote diagnosis follows the same principles with a few adjustments. While we can't physically touch you, the conversation becomes even more crucial. By the end of this phase, we typically already have a strong understanding of the condition. We can guide you through physical movements over a video call, providing clear instructions and observing how you perform them. For resisted movements, we'll explain how you can test these on yourself. As for special tests, some can be done independently, and if not, we adapt by using other functional movements to stress the suspected structures. Ultimately, remote physiotherapy focuses more on functional movements, which not only aid diagnosis but also shape a treatment plan tailored to what matters most to you. Diagnosis isn't about testing everything. It's about asking the right questions, observing the right movements, and using clinical reasoning to uncover the root of the problem, whether in person or online. Hope you found it helpful. If you have any further questions, drop a comment below and I'll get back to you. Bye!